All right, so to install this hightower-practice script, you need to go to my GitHub page. Here's the URL. Once you're there, I do have all this typed out, but I'm going to show you real quick. You want to download a zip. All right, so once it's downloaded, you can go to the downloads folder, go into extract it. You also want to pull up your TF folder. So here's the path up at the top. Once it's extracted, go into the extracted version so you see this level where you can see hightower-practice, listen server, and the README file. Over in your custom folder in your TF, go into there. You're going to create a new folder and it's just the name of your config. So if you already have a config, you don't need to do this step. I just want to show the steps for people who don't yet have a config. So you can call this whatever you want. Go into your config folder, create a new folder, call it CFG. Go into the CFG folder, create another folder, call this one scripts. So, okay, back into the thing you downloaded, drag over the hightower-practice and drag over the listen server file. And then move the hightower-practice folder into that scripts folder. So now we need to create an autoexec file. So again, if you already have a config, you probably already have an autoexec, so you can just edit yours. You just need to add one line. But if you don't yet have a config, I'm going to open this into VS Code. I'll put a little link at the top right as to how to install VS Code, get that set up. All right, so create a new file, and you're going to call it autoexec.cfg. And you just need to add one line, and it's going to execute the load file from the hightower-practice script that you just installed. So you either type out that line, or I'll write that line in the description below so you can just copy and paste it. But you need to add that line to the autoexec anywhere, save it. All right, so I forgot about one thing. You need to update this defaults.cfg file. This config changes the bindings for your T key, your arrow keys, and your numpad keys. And so what you need to, if you use those keys for any normal gameplay things, you need to reset those back. Now there's different ways to do this. If you already have a config, maybe you already have like a reset.cfg file or like a defaults file. Anything that you're using to establish your base default keys would be fine. This is just something I wanted to include for people who don't yet have configs. So when I had you add this line in the autoexec to execute this load file, the first thing the load file does is execute this defaults file. So this defaults file can be used to reset your arrow keys, your numpad keys, your T key, your mouse 1 key back to their defaults, whatever that means for you. So what that means for me, what I use my arrow keys for by default is to change my loadouts. So that's what I've got here. And what I use my numpad for by default is to change my classes. So that's what I've got here. Mouse 1 obviously just performs an attack, and T toggles, for me, I have it toggle my view model on and off. So if you use those keys for anything else, you need to come in here and update this to reflect what your base is. And again, you can do that in a different file. It doesn't have to be this file. But if you're not going to use this file, I would recommend deleting it and removing this line from the load file, just so there's no conflicts. Once you do all this, you can save the files, close out, and restart TF2, and it should be good to go. All right, and now you can see that the script's installed properly because it'll print out that it's ready. So you're good to go. Thanks for watching, guys.